You describe Slingshot as kind of that GPS for modernization. What goes wrong with AI when you don't have that kind of map?
See, when you don't have that map, one common problem which everyone knows is hallucination, right? As you said, right? Because it has to fill the gaps of missing context, it basically hallucinates. Actually, when it's a very bad, sometimes I feel sorry for AI when we say it's hallucinating, but it is doing its best to fill the gaps because you have not given it the right context, right? So it is your job to fill the context in order to do that. And the GPS is the same thing, right? Like why do we rely on GPS? There are many roads to go to the same destination. Which road do you take, right? So that is why we sort of colloquially refer to as GPS, right? Like, say there's multiple ways to modernize. Which path will you choose? Right? Like, why did you sort of choose a particular path? Because of the wider knowledge of the spec and the context and the provenance of the code and where the code has come from, you need to do a particular decision, right? That is why it is called the GPS of modernization. It is not just about reaching the destination, that is code to code. It is about how you reach the destination. What is the spec you generated? What is the acceptance criteria you generated? And that determine how did you write the code so that it can be tested for that code. Because you can have a code which is working, but if it cannot be tested, I call it like a wheel which you can't take out. What will you do when you have a puncture, right? Like so. So you need to have ability to build robust systems, to build, one of the ways we test Slingshot, like there are so many coding agents, right? People ask like, okay, what makes it yours better? I can do the same thing with others. Yes, you can do the same thing, but that is not the criteria. We use an LLM judge and say how maintainable is the coding agent thing there, because that determines, because that is the problem we are solving. Why are we modernizing things? Because they are not maintainable. So if you produce new code which is not maintainable, you are making another problem for the future, right? Like, so how maintainable your problem? Another feature which we have patented, which is very interesting, you will appreciate that, is we call it a provenance feature, right? Like we applied for a patent, it is right now in the process. Provenance feature is when a person uses a coding agent and changes the code, we have markers at every line level which says that whether this line was written by human or it was written by AI. If it is written by AI, what was the context used by the AI when it was written, what model it was used, right? Now that's very important. Lots of people, I ask them, open your code base and tell what parts were written by AI. Right? That is really important, because tomorrow if you have a problem or if you have an audit requirement, especially for large banks and insurance firms and medical firms and all, this will quickly become a problem, right? And we built that into the system from day one, whether we have modernized the code and why it was modernized, which it is there, or if a human basically prompted and generated the code, who generated, when they generated, what AI model was used. So tomorrow, if, like how you have product recall, someone basically says this product basically had a thank God it didn't happen, but tomorrow if someone mentions that it had a security issue and all the code generated by this code has to be revoked, what will you revoke?